Alright, we are back with another update to the Slick. So I know it's been a while and I've had a couple people ask me, but I've not gotten a chance to maiden this one yet. So just life has gotten in the way of the hobby, kind of a thing. But if everything goes well, it'll get a maiden this weekend. If the weather holds out, it'll be good. So some updates to everything. So I have gone back through the airplane and double checked everything. I double checked the throws. I reset the throttle curve or the throttle range, make sure it could get full power, and did some more testing on the motor. So I did pick up this 19 by 10 prop to test. If you remember, it wasn't producing enough power to my liking, and it wasn't using enough of the motor. So that became actually really interesting. So when I put the new 1910 prop on, I ran it up, and when I hit full throttle, this thing sounded horrible. It was making a heck of a racket. So when I collected the data and went back and looked at it, I found out that with the 1910 prop, this motor spins at about 7,000 RPM, produces 2,646 watts at 109 amps. So I think that's really what I was hearing. When this thing gets over 100 amps, it just sounds horrible. It was about the top 10% of the throttle. It was just horrendous. But the other thing is, that's a lot of power. I think what happened and what caused that is when I reset the throttle range, I don't think I was getting all the throttle or the throttle all the way up when I did the first test with the 1810 prop. So it was producing some low numbers, but I think it had more to do with the way the transmitter was talking to the ESC than the motor itself. So I did go back, I put the 1810 prop on, which is on now. It spins at 7,200 RPMs, produces 2,182 watts at 94, a little over 94 amps. And that's actually pretty awesome. That's a lot of power. This plane, and I'll explain this in a second, it's actually coming out heavy. It's coming out to 9 pounds, 10 ounces, just under. And I'm not happy about the weight, but that puts the watts per pound over 200. So it'll fully carry the airplane as is, but I'm hoping it gets better. So how did it get so heavy? So when I was setting the CG to what Pilot says the CG should be, I was really tail heavy. So I kept adding weight to it until I found it would balance at the CG that Pilot says. I ended up adding 10 ounces of weight to the notes of this airplane. So see if I can get in here and show you. But on the motor box, almost, but on the motor box, there is 10 ounces of weights wrapped around. And to me, that's kind of ridiculous. Just because I've got the power setup that Pilot wanted. So the motor, the ESC, my battery's actually a little bit heavy. The servos that are in it are the same power that Pilot recommends, but they're actually slightly lighter. So this would have been worse with their servos. So I'm not really happy about how this is balanced out, but I am hopeful. So David from across the pond, he actually asked me if I had a chance to maiden this yet. I told him no. But he told me that his CG is actually 2 inches behind where Pilot recommends it. Now I figured I would move mine back slightly My flying style, I like the plane to balance, what I call neutral. So hands off, inverted, level flight. So not tail heavy where it's corrected, and not nose heavy where it's corrected, but neutral. So I figured I'd be slightly back of the CG that Pilot recommended, but if David's right, 2 inches, I can hopefully take most, if not all, of that weight out of the nose. So I'll give you some updates on that. I'm hoping to get this thing lighter, but I got to get in the air first. So hopefully this weekend the weather holds out and it'll be a good time, and I'll learn what this bird really likes and see how she performs. So I'll keep you updated. Happy flying.